They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating.
3-point gap between the candidates. The most recent poll shows Kamala Harris at 50 and Donald Trump at 47. If that's what happens on Election Day in North Carolina, Kamala Harris will be president. Here is North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper speaking to NBC's Nnamdi Egwuonu tonight after Vice President Harris's campaign event.
There's a reason why Donald Trump spent more money in August in North Carolina than any other state, because they're panicking. They know that Kamala Harris is at least tied or maybe even taking the lead in North Carolina. Donald Trump has no other path to the presidency. He must win North Carolina. We know that if Kamala Harris wins North Carolina, she is the next president of the United States. We did this in 2008. North Carolina voted for Barack Obama and made history. North Carolina is ready to make history again.
Donald Trump intends to end the Affordable Care Act. Now think about that. Think about that. We remember what it meant when insurance companies could deny you for a pre-existing condition. Remember what that was? So he wants to get rid of it. And as he said in the debate, he made clear he has no plan to replace it. In fact, you remember? You remember, he has, quote, concepts of a plan. Concepts of a plan. I mean, we're 54 days from this election. Concepts of a plan. Which means no actual plan.
Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Big day for the campaign in your state today. That was a giant crowd for Greensboro. 17,000, I think, is the estimate. So is that the debate effect that we saw in that crowd, or did you get a little extra turnout today because of the Taylor Swift effect?
That's the Kamala Harris effect is what we're calling it. It's because folks in our state all across it are so excited. We had over 100 students alone from UNC Chapel Hill's campus today come and meet her in Greensboro. And then also we had our other rally in Charlotte today, too, where we had students from UNC Charlotte come out to that. And so it's just been really exciting to see the momentum that she's garnered from especially young people across the state of North Carolina. We're
going to be watching polls closing in North Carolina on election night. That's East Coast time. That could be, if that's an early enough call, you could eliminate a lot of suspense with a Kamala Harris victory in North Carolina. We could. And to Kamala Harris's point, as she said it on stage, we need every single person across our state getting out to support us and making sure that you're knocking on doors with us in your communities this weekend. We've got folks that are out there every single weekend making sure that we are garnering that margin that we lost by in 2020. North Carolina was, the one state that came within a 1% margin for President Biden is 74,000 votes. It's about 42 votes per every precinct in every county in North Carolina.
So we started a rumour that Trump had impregnated Loomer. We do not have any evidence. We just have a picture where, something could be going on, because how is it possible that somebody who is an extremist is probably the best way of describing her, is spending so much time with the former president of the United States of America on a campaign trail? Yeah, he's doing whatever he's doing. Yet his wife is nowhere to be seen. And she's not part of the campaign team, by the way. She's just there. What is she doing? She's somebody who I suppose you could call her a troll.
Tonight, Trump doubling down on the baseless claim that Haitian immigrants in Ohio are eating people's pets.
What is her contribution that she spends so much time with the former president of the United States of America, who is, probably old enough to be her great-granddad?
Migrants are walking off with the town's geese.
I'm just literally stating some facts.
They're taking the geese.
What is going on there?
You know where the geese are? In the park.
Why are none of the evangelicals
and even walking off with their pets?
Believe in family values.
My dog's been
Why are they not saying anything? Like, nada.
Trump's comments coming just a day after Ohio's Republican governor, Governor DeWine, came out and said that there is zero evidence to back these claims.
Can you imagine?
One of the first people to push this story before Trump or Vance, though. So, how did it get started? Well, right-wing activist Laura Loomer. She notably flew to Philadelphia with Trump before the debate. She was with him, and she's now taking a lot of heat from Republicans, accusing her of feeding Trump conspiracy
theories. You see the double standards which go on here? And can I say one really important thing while I'm at it, while I remember? Kamala's rallies are huge. Crowds are huge. Reception is huge. Atmosphere is huge. People paying attention is huge. In the same way that since Taylor Swift has endorsed Kamala, voter registration and interest in voters has been just exploded all over the place. These are the facts, not the nonsense that Trump
but she was being harassed by white nationalists.
Seriously, is one journalist somewhere going to actually stand up and start pushing the truth out? Because, as Kamala says, she serves the American people.
When Elon
Musk, believe it or not, are so much smarter than I would say a lot of those who call themselves
Frank, why
journalists.
aren't you supporting President Trump? I'm a successful investigative journalist.
Loomer recently told CNN she's not anti-Muslim. Now, some might dispute that she's entered the mainstream, but she's reached the former president's elite inner circle. Flying to the presidential debate on Trump's plane, and to New York as he observed the anniversary of 9/11. A notable appearance since Loomer has pushed the false conspiracy theory that 9/11 was an inside job. She's been seen with Trump a lot.
We're here at Bedminster. I'm with the greatest president ever.
After rumors circulated among right-wing Twitter users, including Loomer, that Haitian immigrants are eating people's pets in Ohio, Trump repeated the claim in the debate.
They're eating the dogs, the people that came in.
I spoke to Loomer before the debate. She told me she's attacked as a childless woman who devotes all her time to a man who will never pay attention to her, meaning Trump. But Trump does pay attention to her and reads her reports.
Laura, how are you? You look so beautiful, as always. You don't want to be Loomered. If you're Loomered, you're in deep trouble. Trump!
Good morning, everybody. My name is Laura Loomer.
She ran for Congress twice and lost. But she told me she built a constituency among the very pro-Trump voters in the Villages, a retirement community that's important in Florida Republican politics. She called them Boomers for Loomer, and they were paying attention when she began attacking Governor Ron DeSantis for having the temerity to run for president against Trump.
You are never going to be president of the United States of America.
Loomer told me one of her donors let it slip that DeSantis was running for president in 2021. So on the first stop on the DeSantis book tour, she stood in front with a Trump sign and a T-shirt. Despite her new closeness to the former president, some pro-Trump Republicans are very against her.
Her rhetoric and her tone does not match the base, does not match MAGA, does not match most Republicans I know, and I am completely denouncing it. I'm over it.
I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Ellie, saying that is something, right? I mean, as loyal and big of a MAGA as it gets. Lindsey Graham today called her comments disturbing. Does she carry influence with others in the Republican Party? And, what do they think about her right now, seemingly incredible closeness to Trump?
Well, she told me that when she met J.D. Vance, he hugged her, even though she was, in her words, a childless dog lady. Now, she also thinks that she's been held on the periphery of the MAGA media world, doesn't get those prime speaking slots in conservative conferences, but her work is reaching regular people. Last year during the presidential primary, I talked to this man in his 70s who proclaimed Laura Loomer has destroyed the DeSantis campaign, almost with a touch of pride.
Wow, it is really incredible to watch all of this, and obviously, they're wanting to have conversations with you. Ellie, thank you so much.
Tonight, some of Donald Trump's most ardent allies are raising serious concerns about a far-right provocateur and promoter of conspiracy theories who's made her way into the former president's inner circle right now. Her name is Laura Loomer, and she's been seen traveling with Trump twice in the past few days alone. Her views are considered extreme, even by Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's calling Loomer's rhetoric a huge problem and arguing that she doesn't represent the MAGA movement. Our political experts are back with us right now, along with CNN's chief media analyst Brian Stelter, who's back here at CNN. Welcome back, Brian,
Thank
to
you, Will.
CNN. Good to have you back. I want to start with you. We've seen Loomer in Trump's inner circle in recent days. Who is she, and what are some of the conspiracy theories she has been promoting out there that Trump has now publicly elevated by bringing her into his inner circle?
That's right. She's a self-promoting far-right performer who has a long history of racist and Islamophobic commentary. She's also a failed congressional candidate in Florida. She's the type of person who 10 years ago would not have been the subject of national news. She'd be shouting into the void on some obscure social network. But nowadays, partly because of the Trump movement and because Trump has brought her on into the inner circle, she is a newsworthy figure and someone deserving of this kind of scrutiny. For example, here's a recent post from Loomer promoting that racist lie about Haitians in Ohio, referring to cannibalistic Haitians stealing and eating people's pets. We know that's been debunked, but it didn't stop Loomer from pushing the lie. Here's another, and that is the kind of thing that we've seen travel, perhaps, from the likes of Loomer to Trump. Now, here's another example that was very disturbing. In 2023, Loomer calling 9/11 an inside job, promoting a long conspiracy theory, and then there she was earlier this week at the 9/11 commemoration at the ceremony in New York. This raised a lot of eyebrows given Loomer's history promoting conspiracy theories. Those are a couple of the examples, Wolf, of Loomer potentially influencing the former president.
And Brian, let me follow up. We're now seeing some Republican lawmakers like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Senator Lindsey Graham, for that matter, distance themselves publicly from Laura Loomer after she tweeted about Kamala Harris's Indian American heritage and cooking. What about that?
That's right, and I'm sorry to read this one out loud. It's pretty gross, but here's what she posted about Kamala Harris, saying, if Harris wins, the White House will smell like curry and White House speeches will be facilitated via a call center, and it goes on, clearly touching on racial prejudice there. It is notable that the likes of Marjorie Taylor Greene have tried to distance the GOP from Loomer. Here's what Greene said.
I have concerns about her rhetoric and her hateful tone. To me, many of the comments that she makes and how she attacks Republicans like me, many other Republicans that are strong supporters of President Trump, I think they're a huge problem. And that doesn't represent MAGA as a whole.
For years, we have been covering Marjorie Taylor Greene's conspiracy theories and her history of offensive and controversial statements. And yet she seems to know that it is smart politically to try to distance from the likes of Laura Loomer. Like I said, Wolf, Loomer is a failed congressional candidate. She's a troll who lives on the internet trying to get attention. She once actually handcuffed herself to the offices of Twitter, protesting the fact that Twitter banned her. That's the kind of internet persona she is. But because Trump has brought her in, she is a newsworthy subject.
And that raises the question, Alyssa, why is Donald Trump associating himself with someone like Laura Loomer, who has a long history of making bigoted comments?
So Laura Loomer is somebody who was a bit of a presence in the 2016 campaign. She tried to get access around Donald Trump. She tried to during his first term. But I think this underscores how different a second Trump term would be than a first. Adults in the room, the Mike Pences on the campaign and when in the White House, would not have let this person around the president. They would speak out on the fact that this is not somebody who should be advising him, that she's dangerous, she's polarizing, she espouses blatantly racist beliefs. And it just seems like those guardrails have come off. There was a picture of Susie Wiles standing next to her, and Susie Wiles is a serious, thoughtful operative, and I cannot imagine for a minute she thinks that this is a person who should be in Donald Trump's ear. And by the way, during the debate when he, infamously said they're eating cats and dogs, once I learned that Laura Loomer had traveled with him, it made sense because oftentimes the last person in Donald Trump's ear is the person that he ends up espousing what they want him to say. It made sense there. There is a major risk to this person being anywhere near a potential future president of the United States.
Megan, the White House today called Trump's associating with Laura Loomer repugnant. That was the word. What does it say to you that Kamala Harris hasn't yet waded into this?
Look, I don't think she needs to weigh into this, right? Like, who he wants to surround himself with is his business. It just shows the American people who he is and what his character is. Those aren't the people that she surrounds herself with. Also, it's telling that actual conservative Republicans that worked with him in the White House before don't support him. His own vice president doesn't support him. He doesn't have the support of the traditional Republican Party. So he is going to these extreme people because those are the people who are telling him what he wants to hear. the vice president doesn't need to get involved in this because that's just not who her character is, and she doesn't listen to people. It's just showing more about that Donald Trump is listening to these racist people, and he's also being racist with these horrible statements that are coming out on the debate and on Twitter and Truth Social. So it's just telling of who he is, and I just think it's repugnant that we're even giving her time discussing her relevance.
It's interesting, Brian, that this is, as you and I well know, this is certainly not the first time Trump has been criticized for associating with rather hateful figures like Laura Loomer. Do you think enough attention is getting paid to all of this right now?
I would tell you on 9/11 when this happened, no. But today I think there is now, thankfully, more scrutiny. And partly that is because she's been traveling with the former president this week. It strikes me as another example, Wolf, of the feedback loop that Trump is in, where he gets misinformed by people around him. Sometimes the TV shows he watches, sometimes the online personalities that he hangs out with. He ends up getting bad information, in some cases, totally bogus information, like about the case in Ohio. Then he repeats it. Then it becomes even more of a story. Then it becomes a multi-day news cycle that ultimately may hurt his campaign, all because of the people that he chooses to either listen to on television or, in this case, hang out with on his airplane.
And some weirdos that he actually invites to have dinner with him at Mar-a-Lago. Guys, thank you very, very much for that analysis. Just ahead.